a great fighter.
A year and a half ago, Erik Morales was done, finished. No way you were ever going to see him at this level again. What he did against Maidana earlier this year to revive his marquee value is one of the most unexpected things we've seen in boxing in recent years. But of course, at the end of the day, the old warriors, Emmanuel, don't forget how to fight.
No, but I think he's hit one a good young fighter tonight. I don't know that much about Cano, but what I saw from his record, he's not a bum. Even though he came in with less experience than most of the top fighters, he still seems to be a pretty decent fighter.
24 fights, not 21 for Cano coming in. 23 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 18 KOs. That's the record in Mexico of somebody who's a pretty good fighter. If you do that in Ukraine or Sweden, we're not 100% certain about the quality of the opposition. We're a little bit surer that in Mexico, somebody in there had to be a pretty good fighter.
You know, of course, Morales made his mark as a featherweight in that wonderful era of featherweights. His 3 fights with Barrera, memorable, each one. His 3 fights with Pacquiao. Here he is at 140, closer to his natural weight as a 35-year-old. And still a man of extraordinary will, which is what he reminded everyone of when he fought Maidana.
Cano is longer. Seems at this moment perhaps to have the stiffer jab.
It's a little better. He fights more like a youthful fighter. Morales is a little stiff, but he was always that way to some degree. The other kid is more flexible, loose, and I think at this stage I would say he's probably won the round. Sometimes when you do these late replacements, you never know what you're going to get. You know, you can say, well, the guy ain't like that much experience, but that doesn't mean that he can't fight. Especially when he just fought recently, as you pointed out, Larry.
Well, in training to fight Lucas Matisse, certainly you're going to be conscious of the fact that you're fighting a body puncher supreme, somebody who focuses to the ribcage. This is a different story. And he had less than 2 weeks to adjust. Hard left hook by Cano,
who is a naturally bigger man. Whether that counts will remain to be seen.
Very nice, son. Very nice with the Vaseline. Relax. Relax. Try to use your combinations. 2 to 3 punches, not just one. Use your jab, jab, and then when you come in, bend your waist, fake him a bit. Press him a bit more this round. I want you to work this one, the uppercut and cross. Let him be, let him be. Let him be work. Relax. No issue. You gave him his water? His water? Good. That's a mouth guard. Keep your rhythm. Throw the right here also. The right to the body.
Got a few box numbers in round 1. Morales 14 out of 46, 30%. Cano 19 out of 68. Frankly, Emmanuel, I saw very little in the first round to remind us of what Morales did here in April.
Yes, and I know even though they're both fighting at 140, you can see the soft body age weight on the waistline of Morales, which means that, you know, it's, you can see his age. There's a lot of skin, whereas his other fighters, younger, you can see his body looks firm, and he's much more fluid with his movements and his punches.
Another hard left hook from Cano, and he just missed with a big right hand. And you heard Jose Morales asking his son between rounds, loosen up. You look tight in the first round. Now Erik Morales is starting to let his hands go a little bit more. Hard right hand inside by Cano, landed flush. There's another. If Erik Morales can't find a way to stop Cano's right hand, this could be a long night for him.
Yeah, you can see a little age, but you know, Morales is a good puncher, and I think going in the stretch he's going to be dependent on his punching power. He's look like he's not working for a decision. He's
I don't know that he has shown that he can be a good puncher at this weight.
I agree, because to me it's not a good natural weight for him. It's a weight that he has to fight at if he fights at this age, but it's still a lot of flesh.
Now Morales is starting to punch with a little bit more snap. Although you saw the jab from Cano knock him back there. There was another right hand left for Cano, and another one, and Morales' face is starting to show the damage already from Cano's right hands.
And this is what Morales is famous for.
But every time he lands a good punch, Cano comes right back. He never lets Morales really take control of the fight.
In 58 professional fights, Erik Morales has only twice lost by knockout, both of those to a fellow named Pacquiao. He out-dueled Pacquiao on merit in their first fight with his brilliant jab. Pacquiao's only loss on American soil.
Morales has been well matched in his comeback with 4 fights. To make the best impression to get here, you wonder if they made a mistake here in matching him with this late replacement.
Very good statement, Larry, because this kid is still fluid, and when Morales finishes up with his punches, he leaves himself halfway off balance because of the age. And this is when the kid comes back with punches, particularly left hook after Morales punches.
Even at 35, Morales had a speed advantage against Marcos Maidana. He does not appear to have a speed advantage here tonight.
Let's see. A lot? Well, truthfully, yes. No, put some Vaseline on it. No, okay.
Tírate más a fondo, tírate más a fondo. Carrito. ¿Ya le dio agüita? ¿Ya le dio agüita?
Give some water already? But this is because of the right hand. Keep walking to your left. Walk to your left. Catch him. Catch his punch.
Here you see what I was referring to earlier. When Morales throws a punch, he leaves himself a little bit off balance, and this young fighter comes back with a counter punch every time. He never lets Morales land something effectively without having to pay for it.
Cano landed 25 out of 66 in that round to 17 of 64 for Morales. And Cano's punches are already beginning to break Morales' face up just a little bit. So the first 2 rounds have not gone well for the aging warrior against the 21-year-old near novice who has been brought in the last 2 weeks to fight. This fight is itself a statement on the increasing bankruptcy of governing body title belts. When Matisse was supposed to be the opponent, and partially because of Morales' thrilling performance against Maidana in a loss, the governing body that's situated in Mexico decided that this would be a fight for a title belt. The obvious aim to give Morales a chance to claim to be the first Mexican fighter to win title belts in 4 different weight classes. But if you give a title belt to the winner of this fight, he's nowhere near the best 140-pound fighter in the world. He's not even in the same discussion with fighters like Amir Khan and Tim Bradley. And if the belt winds up going to a 21-year-old who was not expected to be in the fight in the first place, that's probably exactly the right statement on the value of this, quote, title fight, unquote.
It's one of those eye-rolling titles. But again, it just reminds us that titles don't make fighters, fighters make titles.
100%. Floyd Mayweather no longer bothers with title belts. That's why this fight is for Victor Ortiz's title belt tonight. Uppercut for Cano.
Cano is keeping his composure very good as Morales starts to step it up and punch at him. He's still firing right back.
That's a good right cross by Morales, maybe his best punch of the fight.
Morales is stepping it up and going for power punches here, but Cano takes advantage of Morales being off balance after he punches out, and that's why he comes back with those punches, because he's a better balanced out fighter in terms of his footwork and balance.
In the books for Morales against Cano, and we go to the dressing room of Floyd Mayweather, where his hands are being wrapped by one of the great aging institutions in boxing, Rafael Martin, who is 83 years old and has worked in boxing for more than 60 years. Floyd's extremely fond of him, loves working with him. Rafael's the cut man. How often has Floyd ever been cut? Meanwhile, we go to the dressing room of Victor Ortiz, and here's the news. Victor Ortiz, unofficially tonight, weighs 164 pounds, meaning he has gone up 17 pounds from yesterday's weigh-in. Floyd Mayweather weighs unofficially 150, meaning that Ortiz will take into the ring tonight a functional 14-pound weight advantage. But can he make it mean something? How will he use it? Those will be the questions as Ortiz and Mayweather come into the ring together after this fight and one more. CompuBox numbers in the third round. Morales, 13 out of 31 jabs. He got his jab going. That helped him back into the fight. 22 out of 53 overall. Cano, 20 out of 66. Harold, how do you have it through three?
I'll get you. I've got a 2-1, 29-28. Pablo Cesar Cano. I thought he won the first 2 rounds with those right hands. Somehow or another, Eric Morales really aged since the Maidana fight. I mean, his punches are very slow, Jim. If you watch Eric Morales, I mean, he was always known for good hand speed. I'm telling you, it takes 10 seconds for that right hand and that left jab to reach Cano every time. I mean, you see that? It's just very slow. You can almost see it coming. He slowed up considerably over what he used to be, and Cano's taking advantage by landing nice right hands. 2-1, Pablo Cesar Cano.
Fighting a Madonna who comes straight to you was into Morales' sweet spot. Fighting a young fighter with movement is a sour spot. Good right hand by Morales.
Yep. Starts a rally.
Cano for a mini-second.
Best punch of the fight for Eric. Something that looks like possible blood outside the left eye of Cano. Could it be that Morales' right hand opened a cut?
I believe so.
Indeed, and Cano begins pawing at the left eye. As the blood is flowing now from above Pablo Cano's left eye.
And blood has enraged Morales.
And suddenly Morales comes alive again.
Enraged and engaged.
So we talked in the first fight about the disturbance that blood brings to some fighters and others seem able to ignore it. Cano, at first, was clearly bothered by the cut. Now he's trying to get back in gear. That cut was opened by Morales' right hand. That's a big score. It gives him a working base from which he can win the fight.
Well, it looked like it did. And it looks like it's really bothering the young fighter. I don't know that he's ever had to deal with that.
Cano's eye is swelling as well as bleeding. So the fight changed significantly in that round. Meanwhile, we take another look live outside Staples Center in Los Angeles. When last Canelo Alvarez fought in Staples Center on the undercard of a pay-per-view between Shane Mosley and Sergio Mora, he proved to be the bigger attraction, and you expect a really good-sized crowd in Staples tonight. For the kid who has aroused so much excitement in Mexico, he's 21 years old. He already has more than 30 professional fights on his dossier, and he still says there are 12 more that haven't even been counted into the official record yet. An extraordinary output of fights for such a young fighter. Meanwhile, Alfonso Gomez hasn't had a lot of activity. Really only 2 fights in the last year and a half. And one of them was a 2-round outing against Calvin Green. So Gomez is a little bit lesser known as a commodity coming into that fight with Canelo Alvarez, for whom activity is the hallmark of his career. Round 5 of the scheduled 12. Eric Morales pulls back even on the unofficial Harold Letterman scorecard.
But Morales is trying to home for that straight right hand, and he's been landing continually. And Cano, even though he's a young fighter, he should have figured out some kind of way to neutralize that one punch, because that's the main punch that Morales has landed.
Eric Morales landed 16 power shots in the last round. He's been building through the fight. First couple of rounds didn't look too good. Third round was better. Fourth round, he vaulted to another level, partially because of that right hand that opened a cut over the left eye of Pablo Cano.
Cano doesn't seem to be a big puncher. He seems to be a pretty basically fundamentally sound kid, fast speed, good boxing instincts, but not a power puncher, and not an extremely fast fighter neither. So he's caught somewhere in between.
So you figure the 18 knockouts in 24 fights, probably the result of accumulation of punishment.
Yes, and the quality of the opponents we don't know, but I don't see he's a big puncher.
Good quick left hook by Cano as he stepped away from Morales. Body shots by Cano. He seems now to be getting his feet back on the ground after clearly having been bothered by the cut in the last round.
Yeah, his face is still swelling up, and you know he's an immature young fighter, so those injuries may bother him going through as the fight goes on.
You may recall that Morales cut Pacquiao in their first fight.
And the cut bothered Pacquiao and helped Morales to victory over Pacquiao. Unanimous decision, 115-113 on all 3 scorecards. No controversy. Virtually every ringside expert agreed that night Morales had won the fight. Good hard right hand by Cano. Set up by a jab and a body shot. He's got his game back. And he's outworking Eric Morales as he hammers him along the ropes. Morales doing a good job ducking and slipping there. Nothing big landed.
And I think he's a little grateful at the moment that Cano stepped back.
And while Cano was stepping back, Morales composed a combination in his head and then threw it.
But he's doing exactly what he did in the fight with Barrera, which made him an exciting fighter. He rested up and he's coming right back now with his own punches.
Here we go. Here we go. We know that Morales can go to this tempo. Can Cano go there? Hard right hand. Good round.
Échale tantita agua. Échale
A little bit of
tantita.
water. Give him a little bit of water.
Así como te moviste, estuvo bien.
Just like that, just like you move. It's perfect. It's very good.
Ya va bien, estuvo bien.
It's good. Looks good.
Problema.
There's no problem.
Mira, cuando... Cierra el ojo.
Close your eyes.
Cuando te ataque él, necesito que también le hagas...
Some water?
Sí,
Water in your head? Okay, put some water in the head. That's why we have the towel there.
Ahí te va.
Here you see Cano land a good volley of punches when he had Morales on the ropes, and beautiful shot in a nice overhand right, following the left hook. This volley right here probably won him the round.
Copy box number showed you that Cano landed 20 power punches in that round. And it was a good comeback for Cano, who seemed so disconcerted by the cut in the preceding round. But his left eye is still swelling. His right eye is beginning to swell as well. He's the one who looks a little bit the worse for wear as we approach the middle point of the fight. To mention that Cano is trained by Rudy Perez, who was the trainer for Marco Antonio Barrera all through the amazing Barrera-Morales trilogy. But Cano is not so much like Barrera that it's the same thing. It's not exactly the same equation. All right, right hand by Morales. And he doubled up on it, trying to get to that eye. Start the bleeding again. Five-punch combination by Cano. And there's a three-punch combination concluding with a right cross. Now Morales sticks his jab back into Cano's face and lands a solid left hook. Body shot for Morales with the jab. Usually aimed at setting up something upstairs, and he lands another solid left hook. Suddenly Cano is dropping his right hand and getting painted by the left hook.
Yeah, Morales is punching with a lot of power now. I don't think he has that much respect for Cano's punching power himself. I mean, he's coming in, loading up, and mainly just went for the knockout. I don't think he's trying to win a decision over this young fight. He's going for the knockout tonight.
Judges score blood
I don't know that he
sometimes.
has a choice, but it's become a good, tough, close fight. Which is what Morales does.
Low blow for Cano. Kenny Bayless was directly behind Morales and might not have seen it. Good left hook from Morales. Quick, short punches inside. He's stepping in closer and landing better. Time!
You gotta get your second win now. Lively, lively. Come on, quickly here. Close the eye, close the eye, close the eye. Put more heart in it. When you're right, you know everything that's coming. Put more heart into it now. And remember the straight shots and then prepare to the body.
Here's what I was saying earlier. Morales is leaning in, getting full leverage and coming out with a lot of power on all of his shots. Sure, he lands a tremendous left hook, but notice how he got his body planted before he shot the punch. Because earlier he was throwing punches from too far back and he couldn't get his range. Now he's moving in closer before he throws his power shots.
Morales retired for 2 years after losing 4 fights in a row, including the 2 KOs by Pacquiao. He told us that he went into therapy for alcoholism and to keep his family together, and then he had always planned to come back.
Well, it was interesting when you were saying that you had saw him once, and he admitted that at that time he was weighing up to about 170 or 80 pounds.
I once saw him, Emmanuel, between fights at a restaurant, and he looked like an overstuffed turkey. I didn't even recognize him.
Harold Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I've got it 57, 3 rounds apiece. Jim, in the last 4 rounds, I've given 3 of them to Eric Morales, everything except the 5th. Eric really stepped up the game a little bit over that first 2 rounds where, he just took a beating. And he, he's doing a nice job with that right hand. He's still not fighting at the same pace that he fought against Maidana. But even still, landed good, hard, solid right hands. There's not much effective aggressiveness in this fight. It's sort of a back and forth fight. But Morales certainly landing the nicer, harder right hands to win 3 out of the last 4 rounds.
Yeah, but now Morales is bleeding out of the left eye. And I'm not sure what has caused the cut early in this round, but Eric Morales is suddenly pinning his left glove against the right cheek because he's got to protect the right eye that has begun to bleed.
But it's interesting.
Left eye, I should say. Left eye.
Cano has not came up with a good solid defense for the continuous right hand that Morales is landing. Instead of doing a shoulder roll, some of the punches like Mayweather would do, and James Toney, and those type fighters, he just takes the punches. He doesn't have a really solid defense for the right hands from Morales at all.
But Cano is coming on right now with a burst of energy because he sees Morales bleeding, and now Morales is going to step in and try to defend himself and try to stem the tide. This is a seesaw fight, which gets more interesting with each passing round.
More interesting and more bloody.
Blood in a Morales fight. What else?
And incidentally, when we get to between rounds, this is going to give us an interesting spectacle because the cut man in Cano's corner is the trainer Rudy Perez. The cut man in Morales' corner is the trainer Jose Morales. So both trainers, in addition to trying to guide their fighters through the fight strategically, are going to be working the cuts. Emmanuel, I've seen you do it. Is it a distraction for the trainer to work the cuts?
Yeah, you have to really have your pattern set out. I have a good routine for that, but it's very difficult sometimes to be fixing the cutting and trying to give the fight instructions.
It's hard to tell the details of the cut over Morales' left eye, but the blood is flowing, and it looks like it may be a very serious cut. And Cano is chasing now. Wants to get at him in a hurry.
And is bleeding from the nose too, I believe.
You bigger than him or what? You want to win or what? You gonna let this bump come get you? You gotta throw, damn it! On the inside, come on, throw! The kid is nothing. He just throws nothing. He's just trying to throw his elbows down. Trying to hurt you that way. Don't let him get in.
Here you see Cano land the right hand, which I believe caused the cut. And if you notice, right after he lands that punch, look at the intensity in his eyes when he becomes so much more aggressive after that.
There's a little bit of, or maybe a lot of panic in Morales' corner. And Morales himself looked a little discouraged, I thought, at the end of that last round.
Power shots in the 7th round. Morales 10 of 21. Cano 15 out of 28, including the right hand, which, as you saw, opened that complex cut outside Morales' eye. It looks to me he's bleeding from 2 different spots there. This could become a war now, as both fighters show a sense of desperation. One thing we know for sure, blood won't stop Eric Morales. If ever there's been a fighter with the courage to keep coming, regardless of the damage, this is the guy.
And I was just looking at Morales' footwork. You never see him take a step back.
He is who he is.
Certainly not
even
now.
At 35.
Remember, he did what he did against Maidana this year with one eye. His right eye was closed in the first round of that fight. Closed. Much worse than what we're seeing in the left eye now.
And going into that fight, Tim.
Hard right hand by Morales.
Cano has not still come up with a defense to stop those right hands from Morales.
Another right hand
right
from
hand
Morales.
after right hand.
What a seesaw fight. They traded rounds. Then Cano won the last one. Now here comes Morales again.
Oh, no tangas. Watch the head.
First 2 minutes of this round, a right hand show by Morales. Here's Cano's right hand. Not as quick.
Morales' right hand is much stiffer, much stronger, much more body weight into it. And, you know, if Cano would at least try to duck it, roll it, sidestep it, anything, he would take a lot of Morales' best weapon away from him because that's his main weapon.
What a show. This has been an Eric Morales round. Right after the round in which he was caught, looked discouraged. His corner seemed to panic a little bit between the rounds. The old warrior has come out and put his indelible stamp on this. I know how to solve the problem. I'll fight.
Look at his trunks.
That's
They
a
started
portrait
out
of his
white.
life. That's a portrait of his life. The kid from El Norte. They don't come any tougher.
Both guys are blooded up. I don't know. It's going to have to be some quick decisions made in the next 2 rounds in the corners.
Don't blow your nose.
Quítale el protector.
Take his mouth guard off. Take it out.
A ver.
All right, Kissing. Let me work the nose.
Está controlada la vida.
It's control.
Cierra el puño. Cierra el...
Close your eye.
Los ojos. Cierra el ojo. La condición.
You've got the conditioning. Throw to his body. You did good. Good profiles. Good. You gotta work more.
Here you see Morales land what I refer to as this continuous signature right hand right over the shoulders of Cano, and he has no defense for it at all.
CompuBox numbers in the 8th round. Eric Morales landed 25 punches, 25 out of 63. 13 of them were power shots. Cano, 16 out of 59. Seesaw fight goes to the 9th round. Even on Harold Letterman's scorecard. And they have traded back and forth the last 4 rounds of the fight.
The idea of a good undercard is to give the fans a good night of boxing, of prize fighting, no matter what happens in the main event. And we've seen 2 pretty good fights.
Right hand by Morales. That one was a lunge. Didn't have full body power behind it. Arm punch by Cano. And those were arm punches as well. These are softballs from Cano now. He's not getting anything on these punches. And there he lands a big left as Morales walks into it.
I thought Morales landed a big left.
I'll break the tie. It was Morales.
All right.
Yeah, but
my angle was not good.
But maybe it's because I see so much power and force in Morales' punch as compared to Cano.
Well, I think maybe they both landed, but I agree with you guys that Morales' punch had the harder force. Cano just doesn't seem to be able to get any steam on anything in this round.
No, he doesn't get any steam on him. He still gets hit with the same punch continually.
We used to call these the start of the championship rounds, but that hardly attains to this kind of a bogus championship or title fight. But it's a hell of a fight, whatever it's called. Whoever has any titles or doesn't.
Yeah. This will be an interesting round for scorers because Cano is landing more and Morales is throwing the more effective shots. Good, solid body shot by Morales. Eric Morales has chosen his shots carefully and tried to make them count in the 9th round. Pablo Cano has been throwing, but softly and without much effect. Immediately following this fight, we'll be taking you to Staples Center in Los Angeles. You see the interior there, and you see the large crowd which is gathered to celebrate Canelo Alvarez, the Mexican redhead sensation who has recently become one of that country's biggest boxing stars and their hope for the future. He'll be fighting veteran Mexican-American tough guy, Alfonso Gomez. Gomez, who has stood in and had an excellent professional career, has a record of 23-4-2 to bring into the bout. Lost by knockout only once. That was to Miguel Cotto. Alvarez is going to try to show he's just as bad as Cotto. CompuBox numbers through the 9th round here in Las Vegas. Very close. Morales 182 out of 503. Cano 187 out of 601. Cano throwing 100 punches more. Maybe that can make a difference for him. Harold Letterman judges according to the quality of the punches. How do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim. 86, 85, 5 rounds to 4. Eric El Terrible Morales. Jim, I think he won the last 2 rounds to forge into the lead right here. Pablo Cano, just like you said, doesn't seem to have much power in his shots anymore. Badly swollen eyes. You got to wonder how much vision he actually has. Morales, on the other hand, coming forward, doing a nice job forcing Cano back and landing solid right hands. When you put a guy in his back foot, the truth of the matter is you take away a lot of his power, and Morales is doing that. He's backing him up, landing hard right hands, and reducing Cano's power a lot. 5-4, Eric Morales.
And between rounds, Rudy Perez, according to our brilliant interpreter Jerry Olaya, was telling Cano, you are losing the fight. You must step it up. You have got to try to be aggressive in these last 3 rounds.
I have the same.
Emmanuel Stewart, Harold Letterman made a very good point during that scoring summary. Eric Morales in the last round and a half has been able to pressure Cano onto his back foot, taking the steam out of his punches.
That's right. Even when they both land a punch, I'm more impressed with Morales' punch than Cano, because I don't see him landing with any effect. Instead of him moving and boxing, changing directions, taking advantage of the age and the balance of Morales, he's just standing there taking the punches. All he did was change the box on the left. Morales missed completely. He would lose his balance, but he doesn't do that.
And he senses that he might be able to end the fight here. Morales being Morales.
Cano's face a grotesque, bloody mask, providing a target and a path toward victory for Eric Morales. And Morales is pursuing it with all his heart. And it's some heart.
Kenny Bayless may have stopped the fight.
We're going to take him to the doctor.
He's going to give...
Okay. Time in.
Medical supervisor allows the fight to continue. Cano landing while backing up, and there he blew the blood out of his nose. Now, Emmanuel Stewart, we heard Rudy Perez a couple of rounds ago instantly say to him when he came to the corner, don't blow your nose. There he did it. What's the effect of that?
Yeah, it's you blow your nose, it makes your eyes swell up worse. If any swelling in the eyes will be aggravated if you blow your nose.
So the inexperienced fighter did himself no favors by blowing the nose there, and the blood is really streaming now.
I think Bayless has handled the eye cut very, very well. Bringing Cano to the doctor, saying, okay, he can go ahead. And that's watching very carefully.
But Kenny Bayless's eyes are fixed on that cut. He's not looking at anything other than Pablo Cano's left eye, and he's going to follow him back to the corner here.
Give me the face. Give me your face. Give me your face. Relax.
Rudy Perez asked Kenny Bayless to stop the fight.
It's a good call. I was expecting to have some decision made in the last 2 rounds. in the corners because both guys were beat up so bad.
He's a 21-year-old fighter. He's got a future worth protecting. Perez made that call. Eric Morales has another victory.
And another belt.
52nd win of his career. A meaningless belt. But nevertheless, he'll get to wear it. It'll mean something to him. An amazing show, and frankly, Emmanuel Stewart, in my view, Morales won that fight on maturity, resolve, composure.
That's correct.
He closed the show, landing 21 of 33 power shots. He saw his chance and took advantage of it in that round. The kid seemed to have the better of him early on.
You know, all he had to do, meaning Cano, was to do what he did earlier. Take a little step back whenever Morales would punch, let him get a little out balance, and then hit him with a left hook. He did that very effectively for the first 2 rounds. And the last second of it, he did it again. But other than that, he was just standing there absorbing the blows without taking a step back, without rolling or ducking it. And those consistent, hard-driving right hands took their effect.
All right, we're going to show you videotape now, Emmanuel, of the 2 sequences in the 10th round that ultimately led to the stoppage of the fight. Here we go.
Here you see a powerful right hand coming straight through. And as I said, not rolling it, not stepping back, not going underneath it, just absorbing it.
Brilliant the way Morales doubled up on the right hand there, doubling the damage to Cano's eye. And you can see, even as we watch in slow motion, how precipitously the blood began to flow after the double right hand. This was later in the round as Morales pressed his advantage.
Yeah, the referee could have stopped this fight, and it was very honorable for him to let it go to his corner and let his cornerman make that decision.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on this stoppage.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand, we turn the page to another chapter in the ongoing history of a boxing legend as referee Kenny Bayless calls a halt to the bout. Between 10 and 11, the end of round 10, the winner by TKO victory. Now, once again, a world champion, damas y caballeros de la zona norte, Tijuana, Mexico, Eric El Terrible Corrales.
Final CompuBox numbers as Morales lands 13 more punches, and the margin was more or less created in the last round. Throws 91 fewer punches, but Cano's punches down the stretch didn't have any impact, and Morales ultimately jacking his connect rate up to 38%. He showed some skills, he showed determination, he was clearly diminished and seemingly not in form the way he was in April against Marcos Maidana, but he found a way to win the fight. Power punches, virtually even. They both connected at the same percentage. Cano had his moments, cut Morales badly, looked as though he might be able to end the fight, but ultimately the old warrior outlasted him and found the opportunity to bolt to victory. And now he stands by with someone he knows well, our Larry Merchant.
Thank you, Jim. Eric, congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Eddie.
It looked like you were in some difficulty early in the fight with a young fighter. Did you feel, what have I got myself into?
Antes que nada, para los boys, de una pagada. Es un peleador joven que tiene mucho futuro, pega muy fuerte.
First of all, I want to say hello. And second of all, he's a young fighter who throws very hard. The hard punches.
Creo que tardé un poquito en acomodarme, a tener confianza de lo que podía hacer arriba.
It took me some time to mash and to have confidence in myself and what I can do in the ring again.
When you saw the blood, did you know you were going to get him?
Cuando tuviste la sangre suya.
A la de él, sí, yo creo que lo sentí desconcertado, lo sentí que se sorprendió mucho.
I felt he was off key and I felt he was very surprised.
Y después cuando le salió mucha sangre, creo que se asustó.
And then when he started bleeding profusely, he became very scared.
You know, there are a lot of skeptics about this title. How do you feel about it?
Yo estaba listo para pelear con Lucas Matiz. No es mi problema, se lo dije, es circunstancial.
I was ready to fight Lucas Matiz, and it's not my fault, but I told you it's just the circumstances.
Thank you and congratulations again, Eric.
Muchas gracias. ¡Arriba México!
Jim?
Viva Eric Morales. We are live from Las Vegas, but in just a few minutes we're going to turn our attention to Staples Center in Los Angeles, where